Hi, Charles of Booksage here, and this is my Nonfiction November 2017 TBR. Now, Nonfiction November is put on and hosted by Olive from abookolive. I will link her announcement video down below. And she's come up with 4 categories or 4 challenges. And the first one is home. The second one is substance. The third one is love. And the fourth one is scholarship. And it's wide open for all of us of however we want to apply any of these words to the nonfiction books we're going to be reading. So for my reading, for my TBR, my home book is going to be The Motion of Light in Water, Sex and Science Fiction Writing in the East Village by Samuel R. Delany. Samuel R. Delany is one of my all-time favorite authors. He's a science fiction author. And this is his autobiographical account of his time in the East Village in 1961 in particular. And for those who don't know, he's a gay black science fiction writer. And back in 1961, he was newly married in an open marriage to a white woman. And they moved down into the bohemian quarter of the East Village in 1961. And this book is about him living down there, their life, and him learning and growing as a writer and as a gay black man and a writer of science fiction back in the 60s. So he's absolutely one of my favorite authors of all time. And I've been wanting to get this book for a very, very long time. Actually, thanks to Cozy-a-thon from Sylvia Kay, I ended up buying this book because she had Treat Yourself to a Book You've Wanted for a long time. And I bought this for that challenge, and I knew I'd be reading it here for Nonfiction November. And the second challenge is substance. And the book I chose could actually fit substance, could fit love, could fit scholarship, could probably technically even fit home in a way. But I'm putting it in the substance category. And that is David McCullough's John Adams. This is biography of John Adams, which is obviously pretty famous. HBO turned it into a miniseries. John Adams, I've always been fascinated with him among our founding fathers. He's always been a really, really interesting character. And this, I believe, is actually my older brother's book, and it's been on my shelf. And Billy, if you're watching, yes, I do have your book. Can't have it back until I read it, and I'm actually going to finally get around to reading it now. I had read the first couple of pages when it first came out, when my brother bought it, and I've been meaning to actually sit down and finally read it, and I'm going to be doing that this time. I'm really, really excited to finally get into this. And now for the third challenge, which is love. This may seem like a stretch to you when you see what it is, but it makes perfect sense to me. And that is Chronicles Volume 1 by Bob Dylan. Now, Bob Dylan is my all-time favorite songwriter. As far as the lyricists go, he's hands down my favorite. And this book is about when he first comes to New York City. And again, also in 1961. Interestingly enough, The Motion of Light and Water is about Samuel R. Delany's time in 1961 in the East Village. And this starts off with Dylan's time in 1961 in Greenwich Village, which is the West Village. And East and West Village have always had very different vibes from each other. So I was born in Manhattan, so I've hung out in East and West Village many, many, many times. And in my day, there was a very big difference in the culture and the atmosphere and the feel. So I'm really excited to dive into what all those places that I know and grew up with, what they were like in 1961 in particular. And Dylan is just such a masterful writer, and super excited to finally get into this and read it. And there's early Dylan. Again, he's hands down my favorite songwriter, my lyricist. So really, really cool. And that leaves scholarship. And this one is a book I've had on my shelves for a few years. It was actually given to me. And this is Seeking the Compassionate Life, The Moral Crisis for Psychotherapy and Society by Carl Goldberg with Virginia Crespo. Now, Virginia Crespo is really good friends with my sister. And Carl's passed away, so I never got to meet him. But I've met Virginia a few times, and I think the first time I met her, she gave me a copy of this book that her and Carl worked on for me to have and to read, and wrote a little inscription for me. So I'm really interested in reading this. Just quick little parts of the blurb here. It's Goldberg takes us inside his treatment rooms, through history, across cultures, and into his own personal world to meet clients and acquaintances, including a would-be rapist, a virtuous stalker, an adulterous minister, and a young boy with little more than a matchbook and some pride to call his own. And it says down here the book addresses two audiences. The first, it questions modern psychological scientists who have ignored the importance of compassion, virtue, and morality, focusing on contrived experimental situations rather than pursuing investigations in the real world. And second, it is written for people concerned with the moral crisis in contemporary society and anyone seeking personal and social solutions to deal with this crisis. So, it sounds really interesting, sounds really fascinating. It's going to delve into areas that I don't really know much about, haven't read much about, but really, really looking forward to it. And those are pretty much my Nonfiction November choices. Two of these books are pretty substantive in terms of size, and Seeking the Compassionate Life, while under 200 pages, seems like it's going to be a pretty intricate read. So I have no idea if I'll finish all four of these and still have plenty of time to read more nonfiction. If it looks like I'm going to get through a lot of these quicker, and I'm probably going to add to this TBR. I have plenty of other nonfiction books. I have a whole nonfiction shelf pretty much on one of my bookcases, so I've got more to choose from. But this is what I'm going with for now, and pretty excited. I want to thank Olive and everyone else involved in this. And again, November should be a pretty cool month of reading. And I've been starting to watch other people's TBRs and seeing some really interesting books out there that I might have to add to my general TBR as well. And I guess that's it. This is Charles from Sir Book Sage. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below if you're participating in Nonfiction November. And I will see you in the comments section, and I will see you on Twitter. And everyone, have a good day and happy reading.